where brevity is now officially deceased. Dead. It has joined the choir invisible. This brevity is no more. It has expired and gone to meet its maker. This is an ex-brevity.
Hello and welcome to episode 31 of Chet and John's Reassuring His Finite Gaming Playlist. My name is Chet Rivers. With me this week is not John Denton, who's decided to go on a holiday. It is David Turner.
Hello.
Are you not going to do your thing?
I'm David. Oh, well, hello there. I like to pretend that I'm above catchphrases when I'm not. I'm clearly not.
If you don't already listen to it, Dave does a podcast called Joypod, which, if you don't listen to, you probably should do that. If you've not listened before, basically we're going to take it in turns to go through the 10 games we've played over the last week and work our way to the two number ones, which are the games we've been playing the most. And that's pretty much it. Dave, shoot.
Right, number 10, Sony All-Stars Smash Brother rip-off. I played this at Eurogame. I went to Eurogamer Expo this weekend. And it was one of the only games that no one was really excited for, no one was really playing, so I thought I'll have a couple of games of this. And it's exactly what
Smash
everyone
Brothers.
thinks it is. Yeah, it's Smash Brothers without any of the charm or the characters that you know and love. It's sort of like characters you don't really care about or you've forgotten about. And it works. The mechanics are a bit crap, it's a bit basic, but then so's Smash Brothers. The only thing that gets you through Smash Brothers is the fan service, and I don't think there's people crying out for the protagonist in Resistance Fall of Man anymore.
No,
Is that
a character?
Yeah, that's two characters. They've got his good side and his bad side, I believe, in the game. Also, there's characters like Big Daddy. Now, how is that a Sony All-Star?
The English wrestler?
No, not the English wrestler. That would instantly become amazing. No, the dude from that BioShock game. He's in it. God knows why. He's not a Sony All-Star. It's weird. You lose your character constantly because it's not as bright and colourful as Smash Brothers. They haven't really got. I don't know how much you play the Smash Brothers, but because it's sort of multi-tiered, like all the levels have different platforms and stuff, it needs to make it easy to jump down from one platform to the platform below. Yeah. It doesn't seem to work on Sony All-Stars because if you hit down and jump, you go for about 8 platforms and end up at the bottom of the stage and nearly kill yourself. It's a little bit frustrating. It tries, and it looks good in places. Like they try and mash up 2 worlds. So there'll be Patapons in the God of War world in the back, going on in the background. Yeah. You can see what they're trying to do, but who gives a shit about Patapons in God of War world?
I don't know. Sony fans have been having a massive flap about that game, haven't they? I thought it would have been. All I hear about talking about it online like it's going to be some amazing fucking game, and that's
those people that are getting really excited about it. Go and play Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, true.
And that's the better game, and it's got better characters in it and beautiful stages.
What other characters are there in this?
Who did I play as? I played as Parappa at one point, which was fun. Oh look, it's Parappa. I played as Kratos. It just I don't know. There's just no one really there that I really give 2 shits about. Yeah. So I played it for a couple of games. Everyone walked away sort of sighing, and that was that.
Wow, exciting. I'm not looking forward to playing that one bit. Okay, right, my number 10 is Hitman Absolution. Did you play that at the Expo as well?
I didn't. No, I saw all the advertising for it. Actually, it had a huge queue. People were excited about this.
I don't know whether I played it at a different event, so I wasn't at Eurogamer, but I don't know whether it was part of the real game or part of these side missions that they've been talking up recently. It's hard to know what to say about it. I tackled a mission about 4 times on the trot, just because that's what I always do in Hitman games. You piss around and see what you can get away with.
Yeah.
You walk into the centre of this square in China. It handles crowds amazingly. Best I've seen it done. Better than Assassin's Creed. Better than any game where there's a shitload of people on the screen.
Better than State of Emergency.
Bloody State of Emergency. I haven't thought about that game since it came out.
Every morning I wake up and think of State of the Emergency and I cry.
Are you one of those people that actually like that game?
I did, yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did a little bit. I think it was because you could rip a bloke's arm off and beat him to death with it. I think that might have something to do with it.
I have no I can't even remember what that game looks like. I think I binned it off the day after it came out.
If you see it now, you'd be surprised that it even come out. It looks like a sort of a tech demo, or like a bad tech demo for the Commodore 64 or something.
I remember the time everyone was like, it's going to be the new Grand Theft Auto and it's going to be the biggest game of all time. Yeah.
It certainly wasn't.
I might YouTube that later just to try.
I'd buy a sequel, but anyway, sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, it looks incredible. I had to go to the centre of the square. There's a guy guarded by guards. You've got all these tactics you can use to draw him away. In the end, luckily, he goes for a fucking hot dog or something and leaves all his security guards alone. So I followed him around. I toyed around with a few things. It's a really good-looking game, and it looks like a good Hitman game. And the way it sort of deals with whenever I sort of just randomly shoot someone, the way the crowds go mental and the SWAT team appear from here and here, it does chaos really well. It's too early to tell how the whole game's going to be because that's a bite-sized chunk.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks all right. If you're a Hitman fan, it's looking bang on track.
See, it's funny because a lot of the Hitman fans were a little bit disappointed with the promo work, right? As if they were going to try and turn it into some, the usual Uncharted / Gears of War clone or whatever.
Yeah.
But by the sounds of it, they haven't done that.
No, it's still Hitman, definitely.
Good. My number 9 then is Dark Souls, which will probably make a few Joypod listeners laugh because all of my co-hosts love it and I refuse to play it. As you were saying last week, I'm like one of these hipster guys where people tell me to play games and if anyone tells me to play a certain game, I just avoid it, just out of anger. You ain't telling me what to play.
Yeah, I'm the same as that.
So Dark Souls, it's totally not what I'm into, and it drops frames. Have you played this? Are you?
Oh yeah, no, I was big into it for a little while. What format are you playing?
F360. Is it supposed to drop frames left, right, and centre?
It didn't. It didn't for me. Have you installed it?
No, I need to install it. I think
I did. Yeah.
Because it is running in single digits at the moment.
Jesus.
But I don't know. I can kind of see it's not as geeky as I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be all spell casting and all that sort of stuff. But at the moment, it just looks like here's a big enemy. Try and beat it. If you don't, do it again. So I don't know. It's too early to tell.
Yeah, it does click. It clicked for me. Actually, I'd half written a review in my head when I started playing that game, and I was going to fucking slate the shit out of it. I was like, honestly, I had this entire. I was like, this review's going to be brilliant. I'm going to destroy this fucking game, and then I realised that I was playing the whole thing using a broken sword. So these little guys that were taking 3 hours to beat, just normal guys.
Oh, I totally worked that out as well. There was right at the start, there's those weird skeleton guys.
Yeah.
And I was hacking away at one, and I'm thinking, surely I'm not hacking away all this time. And then I realised I had another sword in my inventory, and I don't know where I got it from. And then it was like one hit, and they were dead.
Yeah, that's what. Because I was playing, I was like, sure, I've heard it's fucking difficult, but I shouldn't stand it half an hour swinging at this fucking little guy. But no, it will click, I'm sure. After a little while, it just has to bed in a little bit. It's not like any game I can think of, really.
I'm supposed to be fighting that first big dude at the moment, the guy where you stand on the balcony above his head and he rips the balcony down.
Yeah, right.
I'm up to there, and even now I'm thinking, how the hell am I supposed to do this?
But that's why it's so great when you finally do it. It's just like can't beat it.
Nice.
Sweet. Okay. I'd be interested to know what you think about that. My number 9 is Pro Evolution Soccer 2013. I'm actually not going to talk about it now because FIFA's a bit low on my list and I want to sort of talk about them together. So that's me done. Number 9 done.
All right, well, I'll talk to you about Pro Evo. I was on review for that one, and I think we're going to have a bit of a conflict over that.
Oh, really? Wow, cool.
Yeah. My number 8 then is Bad Piggies. Have you heard of this?
No.
iOS game. It's the new hit iOS game. It's made by the people that made Angry Birds, which is enough to turn everyone off.
Yeah.
But it's actually amazing. Apart from the visuals, it's basically, it looks like Angry Birds in every way, and I think that's going to put a lot of people off. But think Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts 2D, and that's pretty much what it is. So you start off with a screen with several building blocks, and within those blocks you can put bits of a vehicle, and then you place a pig in that vehicle, and the idea is that you set up the vehicle just right to be able to run the track, and not like you've got no control over the vehicle unless you add engines and fans and all sorts of bits and pieces to it, and you've got to hopefully get the pig to the finishing line without your vehicle sort of falling apart, falling on its head or anything. And then there's you get rated 3 stars as you do in all bloody iOS games. But each star is a different task, so there'll be little stars that you can pick up, but there'll also be, well, if you can do this but without using this vehicle part, then you'll get another star. And it's genius. It's brilliant. It's just a shame a lot of the hardcore would be put off because they'll think it's another Angry Birds when it's not. It's a lot more skill to it. And 2D Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts does not get much better than that.
But that's what I mean. Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts was quite a niche game, I suppose. It turned a lot of people off.
Yeah, but this is the vehicle building in this is obviously a hell of a lot more simple. So it's like you'll have a square and then a wheel, and then you'll put the square on the top and you put a wheel underneath it, and then you put the piggy in the square. But if you did that, it would topple over because there's only one wheel, so you've got to try and balance your vehicle out and stuff. It's 69p and it's well worth it. Just try and not get put off by the visuals because it will put you off.
Is it selling well?
Well, it was top of the charts last I looked. I think it come out this weekend. I think it's going to be another huge hit. There's no doubt about that because, you know, how many people have got Angry Birds on their phone? I'm pretty sure there's notifications going out to every one of those people saying, look, this is our new game, go buy it.
Do you think it's accessible for those people, though?
I don't know, you know. I don't think it's as accessible for kids. You know, like... You see babies playing that game, you know what I mean? You see fucking cats playing it on YouTube. I'm sure there's videos somewhere.
Yeah.
They can't play this, but I don't know. I'm just glad that they haven't tried to do this sort of just another really overly casual game.
Yeah.
And let's face it, like Angry Birds Space or whatever it's called, that wasn't exactly immediately accessible to all the kids, was it?
Yeah, true.
There's a little bit more logic behind it, so. Yeah, moving in the right direction. But definitely turn it out. Check it out. Don't ignore it just because of who made it.
Oh, I assume there's a free trial version, right?
I've not looked. Okay. I just dove in because someone said a friend of mine just said, look, I know what you're going to say, but just try it. And I thought, wow, 69p is worth it, isn't it?
Yeah. I'll be interested to know if there is a free trial, because if there isn't, that means they haven't got faith in it and they're going to try and coast off the Angry Birds people. I'm going to check that out anyway. Okay, right, my number 8 is Tomb Raider 2012, 2013.
That's mine as well. That's
is it really?
7. Yes.
Played at the Expo, obviously.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
I think the build I played was different, so what happened in yours?
What happened in mine? She woke up and we walked along in a forest and walked across a log and climbed a plane. Which was just, they might as well just copy and paste that out of Uncharted. It was incredible. And then you sort of get her warm. She wakes up the next morning and you go hunting for the first time. That was my playthrough.
I think I did so it was basically the beginning of the game, was it?
Yeah, I think so. I think pretty much sure it's after the first cutscene.
Were you weren't impressed then?
I absolutely adored it. I thought it was fantastic. I mean,
same here.
You are sitting there thinking, well, you've nicked so much from Uncharted here, but then you sort of forgive it because Uncharted nicked so much from Tomb Raider that it's kind of sort of gone in full circle. There were some weird bits that I didn't like. I like what they're doing with the character, and I think you're going to actually give a shit about Lara Croft now and not just instantly try and find the tallest place to chuck her off.
Yeah,
and watch her scream before she slams into the floor. But there was things like when she come across the dead body for the first time. I don't think that's a spoiler. But then she goes, "Poor soul," and I was like, "Oh, come on, don't be just like be a little bit more of a scary human being." But no, I really adored it. I thought it looked great. I thought it played great, and I was really surprised when it went a little bit open worldy.
Yeah,
that was a nice surprise. What did you think?
I did. I thought it was great. I can't remember the last time I've played the preview build of a game and it's flashed up at the end. Tomb Raider, like the demo's over, and I was like, "Fuck! I could have just sat here all day and played that." There's some really nice touches in it. Did you do the bit when you get your foot trapped in a bear trap?
No, but I saw that we went to the developer session on the Sunday, and they played for a big chunk of the game, and that bit was in it. That was pretty cool. Well, the walls are jumping out at you.
And they sort of leap out in slow motion, and there's all that waving grass, and it's really atmospheric.
It looked wonderful. It really did look wonderful.
I didn't have any fault with it at all. It was really nice how I really sort of. I know there's been all that controversy about a developer saying, "Oh, you'll care for her because she's a woman," or whatever the fucking hell he said. I can't even remember. But you do feel they've done a very good job of not. I mean, the moment you spoke about when she says "poor soul," that was over-egging it a little bit. But
yeah.
I really was like, I already give it. By the end of the demo, when things start to go, I don't know if you got that far. Things start to go a little bit sour.
Yeah, I saw that.
You really do give a shit about her, and it's really good. And there's a great stealth moment at the end. I just thought it was fucking great. I can't wait to sesh it up. The upgrade systems, it's really, really enjoyable. I can't wait.
As you said, the one thing I was thinking when I was playing this game was I could literally see myself sitting there for about 4 or 5 hours and playing a huge chunk of it at a time.
Yeah.
Because the pacings just seemed right, and I just wanted to see what happened next, which is a huge plus. Hopefully it keeps it up. I mean, this is right at the beginning of the game, but hopefully it keeps it up throughout.
Yeah, I like the fact that it didn't appear to feel the need to have massive action moments like Uncharted. It's sort of lo-fi, sort of downscaled a little bit. I don't know whether that's it'll probably go mental after the beginning, but
yeah.
I hope.
Well, I think what helps that is the fact that you're using a bow and arrow, and you'll probably get guns later or whatever. But the bow and arrow sort of slowed everything down, and it made you think, like when you saw a wolf, you weren't just going pow 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 trying to blow its head off. You were sort of taking your time, pulling the arrow back and aiming and stuff, and that pacing felt unique. It was nice.
And the sound effect when you kill the deer, I was like, that's pretty grim, pretty nasty. But I actually interviewed the community manager, the Tomb Raider community manager, I think that was their title. And I said, everyone keeps talking about Batman Begins. And I said, is that just something journalists are using as shorthand? And she said, no, the two things that we've always had at the forefront of this remake is Batman Begins and Casino Royale. And after playing it, I was like, I can see that. They really are trying to do something along those lines. And I'm so impressed. I can't wait. Can't wait to play more of it.
I'm looking forward to that one as well. Yes. So that was my 7, so you're on 6 now.
No,
you're on 7, sorry.
Yeah. My number 7 is Hell Yeah, Wrath of the Dead Rabbit.
Let me guess, indie game?
No, it's not. It's like a 1,200 point bad boy.
What?
Been quite a fuss about it. Have you not heard about it?
No, no, I've not. It's
I can't. Sega published it. I can't remember who developed it or if they've done anything significant. In fact, I don't know. I don't know why I'm saying I've forgotten. I'd never even investigated. It's 1,200 points, and it's the game. All I'll say is have a look at a video of it on YouTube. If it looks like your sort of thing, there's a chance it might be. It's reminiscent of Sonic. But basically, the story is you're a rabbit and you're chilling out of a weekend, and so you have a bath with your favourite rubber duck. Because you're rocking back and forth and the rubber duck's wearing a fucking leather biker cap, a paparazzi takes a snapshot because it looks like he's shagging it, and for no reason he has to go and kill 100 monsters. When it started, I was like, this is going to kick ass. You've just got 100 bosses all over these maps. And it looks like Sonic. You move around like Sonic, not as fast. You've got guns, weapons, and you have to kill these all these monsters. Basically, the problem with it is that the developers spent so much time, so much effort, and so much money on these little micro games that come up when you basically beat it. some of them are like hammer the button really fast, and some really funny animation will be on there, or some are like, tiny little micro games, but they're so elaborate and so gorgeous to look at. It can't. After a while, the gameplay just becomes monotonous. The levels are badly designed. You're just like, this could have been fucking great. And there are some great jokes. It takes the piss out of everything. Within the first 20 minutes, there's jokes about 2001, Mortal Kombat, Sonic. Even. I mean, it's relentless humour, but it doesn't work. They put all their efforts into one place, and it just kind of dies on its arse after about an hour. You just get bored.
It's always the biggest disappointment, isn't it? Where you can see where the effort's been put in and where it hasn't. Yeah. I felt that a lot with. I know you guys were a big fan of Lollipop Chainsaw.
Yeah.
But there were just huge moments in that game where you just thought, a little bit more polish here.
I know what you mean.
Could have gone a long way.
I forgave it, those things. I know what you mean, though.
They just made me more angry.
Yeah.
I did not like that game.
Did you? Oh, no, of course I remember. Didn't you write a review of it?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
I think I read that, yeah. Disagreed with everything you said, but...
I pissed a lot of people off with that. But still, you're all wrong.
Indeed. I don't agree with you.
Is this my number 6?
Yeah, if your 7 was Tomb Raider, then yeah, 6.
Hotline Miami.
Oh, what the hell is this?
You've not heard of this? I'm not kidding. You will... Well, I can't say this for sure, but I'm pretty sure you'll absolutely love this. If you get the chance to play it, do so. Unfortunately, it's only going to come out for the PC to start with, so no Mac release and no console release. But it's an independent game. I don't know who makes it really. I'd only really heard it because they were chatting about it a lot on a podcast called Midnight Resistance, and I went to the expo and it was there. And you sit down, you put your headphones on, and that's it. You forget that there's a world going on around you because it's such a focus drain. It's unbelievable. So what it is, it's like a top-down. The worst way of describing it is that it's like the old Grand Theft Autos, but it's not, because it's more zoomed in, it's more detailed. But what you're seeing is sort of a top-down. Free roaming game where you walk into a building and it's all about judging the like what your enemy can see, because you can look into other rooms because like the camera's so far up, and you can see like these enemies wandering around in the room, and you have to pick your time to sort of bust the door down and kill them with whatever weapon you've got. And I mean, you start off with your fists and you try and beat someone up with a baseball bat, and then you use that baseball bat to try and hit someone with a knife, and then you get the knife and you sneak around the corner to see some guy with a shotgun, and before they see you, stab them in the back. It's incredible. It really, really is. But so intense, and it's one of these games that seems to be becoming more and more popular, where it's so hard that dying becomes nothing. It's like an instant restart game. You got these games like Trials HD and Dark Souls where it's more about, okay, die, restart. But progressing every time you play. That's what Hotline Miami is, and it's pretty funny and pretty gruesome and just majorly addictive. I'm genuinely thinking about running boot camp on my MacBook just to play that game.
Isn't it rendered in isn't it like 8-bit graphics or something?
Yeah, it's sort of like it's very, very old school. There's nothing 3D about it at all. But it doesn't matter. I think one of the big appeals to it is that you've got full control of your character. You use the mouse to point where your cursor is, and it's left click on the cursor to shoot towards that cursor. Left click on the mouse to shoot towards that cursor, and then you use the WAS and D to move your character about. But you just feel that you're in complete control of him. Whenever you muck up, if you sort of accidentally burst through a door and someone sees you and instantly shoots you with a shotgun, it's your fault, and you know it's your fault. There was no instances where I thought, well, this is just the game cheating me, because you feel so in control of your character, and the controls are so simple. You really do feel that everything you're doing it intentionally, and if you do cock up, it's your own fault. It's incredible. Seriously, Google it, keep your eye on it, and if anyone's got it on their computer, just sit down and give it 5 minutes, get used to the controls, and I guarantee you'll be you'll be absolutely amazed by it. It's fantastic.
So it's out now?
No, I think it's coming out at the end of the month. I could be wrong. Might need to look it up. But it's coming out soon, and it's like $10. So I don't know if it's coming out on Steam. I know that there's some Steam achievement stuff's tied to it. But I think some distributors got the rights. Again, I don't know the ins and outs. I just turned up at Eurogamer. Someone had told me about it, so I gave it 5 minutes, which became 10 and then 15. So incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I saw that it won an award at the last, not the Eurogamer Expo, but the PC centred.
The Res, yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, best of show, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember I looked at a screenshot and I was like, what?
Yeah, you'll look at it and you'll think of it again. Think of it as like one of the old school Grand Theft Autos, but it's so quickly paced, and it's so unforgiving. There's just something about it that sort of grabs you, and you just sit and play it for hours because you just want to get to the next bit. It's incredible stuff.
Well, I can't wait to play. I mean, I've heard quite a bit now, and still I don't quite understand. So I can't wait.
I don't think I kind of understood what they were trying to do when I watched some like gameplay videos, but it didn't really sort of like I couldn't really see why it was getting so much love. And then once you play it, and then once you realise how sort of tight the controls are with it, you just go, right, I totally get it now. I totally understand. A lot of it is thinking about like picking people off and like split-second decisions that you've got to get right, otherwise you die. And it keeps you on the edge of your feet for edge of your seat for long periods of times. It's incredible.
I can't wait. That sounds that's well high on my list.
Definitely play it. You should do it. I mean, it's dirt cheap and it's really good.
Yeah. Okay. Genuine. Right, okay, my number 6 is F1 2012. Are you a fan of F1?
I'm of the sport or the games?
Yeah, well, both.
Neither.
Okay,
really.
Same here, I'm in the same boat. Oh, no, to be fair, I really like the games. I love what they do. I think that they've got progressively better. So if you are an F1 fan and you've played the 2010 or 2011 ones, this is the best of the three. It really helps if you give a crap about F1, and I don't. It's better looking. The weather effects are still amazing. The handling's better. The cornering's slightly easier. And there's a great tutorial. As someone who doesn't follow Formula One, know anything about it, the tutorial's brilliant, man. It's like it actually gives you information in layman's terms. You know, kids could hear this and sort of be susceptible to it, where they just explain what shit is, why certain tyres work in certain conditions, why horsepower dictates how you should drive. You know, stuff that you actually need to know, but the older games never bothered to tell you.
I bet some people complain about that.
No, they have. I saw a review where a guy goes, "Oh, this is so slow and boring." I'm like, but if you want to learn about exactly what you're doing, because the previous games occasionally, you know, what's that KERS? Some engine component, electrical, controversial, whatever the fucking hell it is. It explains, it tells you what it is and what it does. My memory's so terrible that I can't even remember it, and it was yesterday. But that it explains everything, and I thought that was brilliant. Have you played any of them?
Do you know what? I haven't played a F1 game since like the N64 days, because they were always like. I mean, they always looked amazing, but they were always notoriously really fucking hard.
Yeah, that's true.
And after a few races of finishing last, I go, fuck it, I'll just drive across this bit here. What's that, disqualified? And then I'd throw the pad and go trade the game in. So how does it deal with that? Like, does it...
What, driving off the track?
Oh, no, I mean, is it like overly hard or is it toned that?
Not really. There's difficult modes. There's this mode where you can take on the 6 world champions and you have to do things like overtake them within a certain number of laps, or, you know, all these. That's a really cool mode, actually. That's new. But the only reason I asked if you played the last 2 games is because they did this ridiculous system. The game was... The sort of game was based around this first-person system where you'd be walking around the paddock and sitting in your gaff and like checking your email on your computer and walking around. It was just like, why? It was one of the worst. I don't know why they put that in the game. It was slow and it looked stupid. It was pointless and it just was a waste of time. But here they've got rid of it. So
that's always a really weird thing in driving games. They seem to want to add that like from about 5 years ago, a lot of these have got like these weird sort of first-person bits where you will either walk around a garage or it's just bizarre. Like Test Drive Unlimited's got loads of stuff like that. It just feels janky and horrible.
When you're in the Test Drive Unlimited 2 starts when you're at that really rigid pool party and there's like
the racist party. The racist party. I'll tell you why, because you select your character at that party, and when you flick through them, it goes white guy, white girl, black guy, black girl, Asian guy, Asian girl, and you're just thinking, well, why are all the races sticking together? Why don't they just mix it up a bit? It's it's weird. Just watch it again. You'll notice that it's the most segregated party you will ever be in. Ironically, it's in his dream as well. So the protagonist, must be a massive racist.
Oh, that's right. It was all a dream. I forgot about that.
Sorry, spoilers.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all a dream.
But yeah, I don't want to say any more about F1. It's the best game yet. If you like F1, you're pretty spoiled. They've put a lot of effort for a small team. Oh, that's the other thing about it. It's the most English video game ever. It's a racing game. It's F1. It's the opening cutscene. 70% of all the footage is lashing down with rain in England, grey skies, and it's got that Noel Gallagher song, "What a Life." And I was like, this is the most morose and strangely morbid opening to a fucking racing game I've ever seen. Completely bizarre. But yeah, it's a good game. If you like F1, get it in. It's good.
Cool. My number 5 is a game called BaraBariBall. It was an independent game that's tours expos basically, and it's made by this guy that has been told to put this on some sort of console immediately, but never has. He just likes taking it to expos and watching people play it.
Jesus.
But apparently he's told us recently, I'm not even sure we were supposed to said this, but we said this on Joypod already. It looks like he is now nearing to the point where he's going to release it. He's just going to make a few tweaks. Basically, imagine Street Fighter, but with a ball, and it being a sport. So the idea is, it's very, very low res graphics, but still strangely beautiful. And it's set on like these multi-leveled levels. Think sort of more like a 8-bit version of Super Smash Brothers. And there's the 2 characters there. At the bottom of each stage, there's like water. There's the sea. Half of the sea is coloured one colour. Half of the sea is coloured the other colour. And the 2 characters have to fight between them over a ball. And the way you score a point is by throwing the ball in their part of the sea, basically. And if the ball sinks to the bottom, you get a point. But the problem is you'll throw the ball, and of course it slows down as it hits the water. So you've got the character that you're fighting against can jump into the sea, pick the ball out, jump back out again, and then throw it over your side. So the idea is basically you've got to throw the ball into the sea and then beat the shit out of the other guys to stop him from retaining it. You get a limited amount of jumps that regenerate if you're on land. So basically you can't just like constantly jump in the air. There's a limit to it. So if you run out of jumps mid-air, you will sink down, and if you die, you lose a point. It's incredible, and what the guy said that he's working on is that at the moment it's only one button attack. You could do some other stuff. You could do like sliding attacks and stuff like that. But what he's looking to do is to just play hardcore beat 'em ups for a while and see what will work in this game. So you can actually get combos and all sorts of stuff going on, while the main thrust of the game is actually kind of like volleyball. It's incredible. It's really good, and you will only play it if you go to one of these expos.
Did you interact or meet this guy?
I didn't know. No, one of the guys who was with us knew of him and has spoken to him via email a few times, but I didn't get to speak to him myself. But if I had, I would have probably hit him in the face and told him to release it immediately on Xbox Live Indie Games, because it's something else. I mean, it was gathering crowds behind us, and it was one of those things where someone would throw the ball into my part of the sea, but it was quite close to their half. I would sink down. I wouldn't have any jumps left, so I was going to die anyway. But I would grab the ball and then just flick it into the air over to his side of the sea just before I died. So although I lost a point, I scored a point because I've managed to save the ball and chuck it over to their side. It's honestly, mate, it's an amazing sport, if anything. And it just, you've got to play it. Cause
where did you hear that he's like gearing up to actually release it properly?
He emailed one of the guys that was on my show, because I think Andy Hamilton, he must have emailed the guy God knows how many times saying release it, and then he got an email back just before we recorded our last show saying, yeah, I'm thinking about releasing it soon. So if that comes to Xbox, that's going to be up there with what's that game, Hidden in Plain Sight, as one of my go-to party games.
The guy sounds like an absolute fucking weirdo. Who develops the game and then takes it there and just refuses to release it? And
see what you're thinking now. That's what I was thinking when I was told. And in fact, actually, it's still what I'm thinking. It made me angry. I wanted to go, just release this now, and I will buy it. I will go home. I would have probably spent a £5 on it, even though it's world basic and there's not that many like levels and stuff. I would easily have spent a £5 on it because it's so much fun. What is he doing with himself?
Yeah, have you seen a picture of him?
I haven't, no.
Fat guy with a beard, tenner. I'll put money on it. Fat guy with a beard, blatantly a fat guy with a beard.
Hold on, that's just playing the law of averages, isn't it?
Yeah, true. That's very true. I can understand, but what I'm worried about is if it's getting this attention, maybe something that's supposed to remain simple is going to get spruced up with needless shit and put on for 1,200 points on a outside space.
It'd be called Ball of Duty. There will be guns. It would be terrible. But no, at the moment it's just wonderfully simple. Like if you saw a screenshot, you will piss yourself because you'll think, what is this? But it's not until it takes about 2 or 3 games to work out what the rules are, and then all of a sudden the tactics running around in your head are incredible. And there'll be moments where there'll be someone with a ball on the top tier, like the top level, and someone without a ball waiting by the sea, and both of you are trying to work out what the next player is going to do so you can position yourself correctly to beat the shit out of each other. But so there's like massive standoffs and stuff. But it was definitely a crowd pleaser. The worst part is that if he's sort of treaded water for this long, there's probably a rip-off on it on the App Store already. That's what worries me. But then saying that, because he's only really done it at Expos, and because people go to Expos for Call of Duty and Halo 4. I mean, no one was on it hardly all weekend, and those that were didn't really know what it was or how it played. So I don't think it's been largely publicised. So if someone does copy it, well, then good, because I'll get to play it.
What was it called again?
It's called BaraBariBall. It's all one word. BaraBariBall. BaraBariBall.
That sounds interesting to say the least.
Yep, it's amazing.
Okay, right. My number 5 is almost certainly on your list as well. Dead or Alive 5.
Yes, that's my number 2.
How are you finding it?
It's Dead or Alive, isn't it? I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Dead or Alive series, so I was always going to like it. A little bit disappointed that there's not more to it. If I'm totally honest,
How do you mean?
Like it's story mode, arcade mode. It's the usual stuff. I was expecting. I don't know. I was expecting a little bit more. I thought they were going to go like completely customise your characters at one point, because that's what it looked like from the promotional stuff, and I was sort of excited by that. But they haven't bothered with that. The stages are not as mind blowing as I hoped. They've still got some of the old boring runs in there. They should just drop that. But it's I'm still loving it because it's Dead or Alive and I love the series. Yeah,
they haven't gone above and beyond. That's very true. But I'm always they're they're published by Tecmo and they're like a boutique now. They release like 2 or 3 games a year. So I can understand why it's not massively ambitious, but yeah, I've loved it. I mean, the campaign has cracked me up non-stop.
Yeah,
I
it's pretty funny, isn't it?
I mean, really. I mean, I thought there was sort of a bit of humour in the old ones, but this one just made me laugh constantly. And the online works. Have you played much online?
I haven't, no. In fact, actually, I've not taken it online at all.
Okay. No, it works. Whereas Dead or Alive 4, I still remember that just used to drive me mental because it was not ready to be online. It was one of the first 360 games, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty atrocious. Yeah, no, what I tend to do with my Dead or Alive games is sit and try and unlock as much as I can before it gets ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then, I've worked, but basically this is terrible. I pick my favourite characters and I unlock as many costumes as I can.
Yeah.
Then I go through the story mode and unlock all the characters. And then I go back and finish up any costumes that I haven't picked up. Some of them are just ridiculous. Like there's a swimsuit ones where you've got a complete arcade mode on the hardest setting without using one continue.
Oh, yeah, that's standard practice though, isn't it?
But it's so hard. Like how unforgiving these Dead or Alive games are. So that's a little bit frustrating. But then like once I feel that I've unlocked as much as I possibly can without going insane, I take it online. So I'm a little way off that. I'm just halfway through the story mode now.
If you play it to that extent before going online, by the time you go online, you're going to be fucking destroying people, because the games I've had, they're not interested in using holds or even grabs. It's just button mashing people. So
I play as Christy, and she's a bit of a counter expert, so hopefully I can take advantage. But one thing that did blow my mind is how shamelessly, we shouldn't be surprised by this. It's Dead or Alive, but it's just like the word. They might as well just plastered the word tits everywhere. Did you laugh at how you select your costume? It's hilarious. So you go to your character select screen, press A, then there's the bit where you select your costume. Now, what you used to do was cycle through, the costumes would just be laying there and you could pick. Now it just shows the breasts. You don't see the full costume, you just see a picture of breasts, and then you flick through how you want them presented. And then if you choose a bloke, it does the torso. And then there's the weird sort of voyeuristic stuff. Once you, if you lose a battle, your character will lay there puffing and panting, and you could just move the camera about and zoom into whatever you want. It's so funny.
I didn't notice any of this stuff. I'd seen all these reviews that were saying, God, it's so ridiculous how it's just perving over these women. I've never thought that, to be honest.
It's got worse. I thought it was bad on Dead or Alive Dimensions, where you could unlock little trophies and then look up their skirts and stuff. Well, now you can do this. There's no time limit. Once they're on the floor puffing and panting after being beaten up and making some weird sort of groaning noises, you can literally angle the thing up her skirt and just see what's going on up there. Yeah, it's crazy. And the only other thing that's put me off is the loading times are terrible. Next time you get the chance, go to Fight, Arcade, or Versus, whatever, and then just solo play, and then just watch how long it takes to load that menu. It's ridiculous.
Have you installed it?
Yeah, I've installed this one.
That's weird, because that's not. I played it. I mean, I've played it pretty extensively. I haven't noticed that at all.
Maybe
it's weird.
I don't know what that's about. Maybe I should delete it and then reinstall it, see if that helps.
Maybe how old's your Xbox?
It's a small one, or whatever you want to call it. So, it can't be that. But I'll try. Maybe it just cocked up while it was installing it, but I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. I think it's a good game. It's not. I kind of like the fact that we had Tekken and we had Soul Calibur, and it was just it was nice to see something that wasn't trying to fucking shoot for the moon. It was just another Dead or Alive, and I like it. I think it's really, really, it's a good one, definitely.
That series has always been about the spectacle. It's not been about a fair, equal fighting game, is it? And I'm just glad that there's a market for. Well, I think there's a market for it. I don't think it sold amazingly well, but I think it did well enough.
Yeah, I hope so. I'd like to see another one. The funny thing about it is that it doesn't aim to, like you said, it doesn't aim to provide ridiculous amount of balance, but it's one of the only games where I think if you've got a bit of savvy and you don't know all of the elaborate moves and counters and stuff, you can still prevail. And I think that's really there's something really appealing about that, because a lot of games try and be. It's hard to master. It's easy to pick up and all that shit. Whereas this, I think this is genuinely I've been smashed by someone who clearly didn't know the stuff that I knew.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel pissed off. I was like, he used his shit to his advantage, and it's good. I like that. I like the fact that you can do that.
It's like old school beat 'em ups when no one really give a shit about counting frames and stuff.
Frame cancels.
Yeah, they just want to get home from a pub and bash some buttons to some sexy ladies.
Have you ever been on an internet forum where the subject is Street Fighter?
Yeah.
FFBBC. I tried CCBBK. I mean, I'm just like, what? I mean, it's just another language. Don't understand a word of it.
I think you do get like sucked into the world if you do get into the Street Fighter games. It is quite addictive, and then once you understand what's going on, you watch tournament videos online, and you're like, wow, this is why everyone's getting excited. Yeah. But at the same time, I just think I cannot be asked to put this much effort into one game. Yeah. So that's that. Number 4 then. I've got, this is a bit of a cop out, this one, because this will be in my top 5 no matter what week you ask. It's called disc driving on the iPhone. You must have heard of this, surely.
Disc driving?
Disc driving. There's no G. They cut that out for effect, I assume. Basically, it's a asynchronous game. So you make your move, I make my move. There's a track, and on the track are small discs. Like you each own a disc. You start off at the start of the track, and it's 3 laps. You flick the disc forward, and that's it. You hope that you get around the track faster than the other guy. And there's power ups. There's jumps. There's all sorts of stuff going, speed ups going on the track. And I don't know why. It's just part of my life. It's one of these asynchronous games that hasn't got on my nerves. Like Chess with Friends got on my nerves. Words with Friends got on my nerves. Yeah. Draw something that wound me up a little bit. Yeah. This one just has always been there. So, like I'd say, about 4 or 5 times a day, I'll just boot it up, see what races are in, like what because you can get up to 4 players on each track, and then you just sit and you make your move. You just flick it. It takes literally about 10 seconds. And then sometimes you fall off the track, sometimes you don't, and that's it. That's the game.
You seem to have a real soft spot for games where you play as small circles.
What do you mean? We've got that one.
And what was the other one? BaraBariBall? I can't remember what it was called.
BaraBariBall.
BaraBariBall, that's it.
Yeah, you don't play a small circle in that. You just play as a I don't know, some weird little character. But
I thought you were a ball. I thought you were.
No. The ball is something that your character has to pick up and then throw onto the other side. Okay. Maybe I didn't explain it properly.
No, I think you probably did. My brain's like a sieve that you probably said that.
As I said, it's like really like lo-fi Street Fighter, but with a ball in it. That you pick up and throw about. So disc driving, if you just want to, I don't know, it's hard to, I can't really recommend it because it's not great, but for some reason it's just stuck with me all my life. So,
is it free?
I think there's a free version with ads, but I always try and avoid them. I'm in like leagues, like big proper leagues with promotion and relegation opportunities and stuff now, all based around disc driving. It's well worth checking out.
Are these the real life leagues?
Yeah, you go on to, there's a forum, I'm on a big part of RLLM UK, or Roll Muck, and you go on that forum and there's an online folder, and in that online folder there's a disc driving Grand Prix thread, and what you do is you play 5 races with 4 other people, and you get points for where you finish, and then you can get promoted to the higher leagues and stuff like that. I don't know why, but if you download it, let me know, and we'll have a game.
All right, that sounds interesting. So hold on, let me get this straight. DISC driving.
DISC.
Oh right.
Space.
Driving.
DRIVIN.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, disc driving.
Okay, I've never heard of that. Is it a big thing?
I think so. I think a lot of people. Maybe not. It's weird when it comes to gaming, and I said this after the expo. You think that it's so. Seclusive game, not seclusive. You feel like you're the only one doing it, don't you? Like even though you go online, there's hundreds of thousands of people doing it. Until you go to an expo and then you see 4-hour queues to play Call of Duty, you think like, it's this little world that I'm involved in. And so when disc driving is such a big thing in my little world, I'm surprised that not everyone's heard of it. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's sat at play, innit?
Okay, well, I'm going to check that out because I've never heard of it, and it does sound interesting.
I liked it so much, I paid for a custom disc.
How much did that cost?
69p.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, I just thought, well, I've spent about 4,000 million hours on this, so they deserve another 69p somewhere along the way.
Now, that's completely acceptable. You do not want to know what I've spent on DLC for Rock Band. especially in the last 24 hours. But
have you had like a proper invoice for it then?
I'll explain all in a bit. Okay, right. My number 4 is FIFA 13. Is it on your list? I assume it is.
It's my number 1.
How are you finding it?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I said in my review, it's like if you just coming to this fresh. If you've got the 2 football games to choose from and you haven't played a football game for a long time, then you've got to get FIFA.
No.
No. Really?
No.
Here we go.
No. Sorry, go ahead. Carry on.
No, it's your turn. Why
I thought you were
going
to go. I thought you sounded like you were gearing off to go off on one. Basically, I had to review FIFA, and I spent about 48 hours playing it almost non-stop.
Yeah.
As a package, it is absolutely faultless. And to be honest, if I ran a magazine or a website, I'd do exactly what Eurogamer did and give them both the same review score because they're absolutely phenomenal in different ways. I don't play football games. I mean, for the first time this year, I really got stuck into Ultimate Team. Yeah, Ultimate Team. I'd never really got involved in it before, but I really, really went for it this year. It is a work of genius, and I can totally understand how people who buy FIFA every year get ridiculously obsessed with it.
Also, and it needs to be noted that this was a DLC game a few years ago that you would have had to have bought FIFA and then paid for Ultimate Team, and now they're just chucking it in there. I think that's quite commendable. Yeah,
I mean, and then there's I can't remember what the name of the new mode is that takes real world data.
Oh yeah, I can't remember the name of it.
But brilliant, and it affects the commentary in the game. I mean, as a package, David Rutter, the head honcho who behind all of these games, he said, I'm sure he said it publicly, but he said it in other situations when I've been present. It's the best FIFA game we've ever made, and I can't argue with that. I think FIFA 12 was more. That was a real slap in the face because they tried something that could have fucking upset everybody, and it didn't. It was just a great idea, tactical defending. But this year, I can't fault FIFA 13. I can't. It's an incredible package. If you're someone who plays football games all year round on your own and with friends, you can't fault it. It's a 10 out of 10 game. It really is. Like I said, I played it for 2 days straight. I was in awe of it a little bit, and then I went to go and have a couple of games online. And the least impressive thing about it is just the on the pitch action. I think that's slightly lacking. There's just
what did you feel was lacking from it?
It's difficult to describe. I mean, when John said in the past, he's been like, it's too fast, because he was actually at EA playing it. He's been there for months writing a review, and he said it's too fast. And I didn't agree with that because I like fast-paced games, especially football games. And after prolonged play, I'm just like, it is too fast. And the things that always annoy me about FIFA is that there's a prevalence of shit that you can't help. It's been less problematic in past games, but this year the amount of times just in matches that I've been playing online especially, but offline as well, where you really work to defend something, you hoof it just lands in some guy's in an opponent's, he gets it however, and then he just hoofs it and then he's got a goal. Those kind of sloppy accidental goals happen loads. It's really difficult for me to say. I've tried having this conversation with John because I know fucking nothing about football, but basically the best way to illustrate it is that I was playing FIFA for that prolonged period of time and I was absolutely loving it, thinking this is basically a masterpiece. If you are shelling out £40 for this game, you're getting every penny and then some.
Yeah, it's huge, Matt. It's a Skyrim of football games, like seriously.
Yeah. It's almost future-proof. It's like, why would you ever need another football game? But as I said, I went to go and play a couple of games online. For some reason, I couldn't connect online, so I just thought, fuck it, I'll stick Pro Evo on. And I had one of the best gaming experiences I've ever had in my life, I think. I was on the edge of my seat. My heart was racing. I was playing online, Real Madrid versus Real Madrid with some guy. I won 2-1 by the skin of my teeth, and it was the most exciting game of football I've ever played in my life. And I sat back and I was like, that sealed it. But that's only because I only play football games when mates come over or we have a couple of games online once. So I'm not a football fanatic, but I can understand how you. I think it depends how you play the games.
Well,
really.
my theory is this, right? I think Pro Evolution Soccer does a better job in not forgetting everything apart from the on the pitch play, right?
Yeah.
I think Pro Evolution Soccer, and this is including like commentary and shit, because don't even get me started on Pro Evo's commentary. It's ridiculous.
That's fair enough.
Free kick.
Okay.
Just going by the gaming mechanics, right? Pro Evolution Soccer does a much better job of representing the sport. It's very random. Anything can happen at any time. It feels completely free flowing. There could be a moment where someone miskicks a ball and it sets up an opponent or whatever. That is completely lacking from FIFA. So that's where you're getting your excitement from, because anything can happen, and it does feel that you're not quite under control of the game, and it's very, very exciting, as is real football. FIFA's not got that. FIFA is very controlled. FIFA is very, it breaks everything down to lines, shots. If you take a shot, it usually takes a path that you've seen it take, and you could tell the moment it's left the foot whether it's going in or not. But the thing is, as a competitive game, FIFA's better because of that. Like, for example, I suppose it's a little bit like Dead or Alive and Street Fighter. Street Fighter is all about, making sure everything's even and that whoever is the better player should win to some extent. Okay, with FIFA, that goes against you every now and then. Whereas Pro Evo's more of the Dead or Alive, where if you're not taking it seriously, it doesn't matter if you lose. And some of the games, as John was saying, the goals are instantly rememberable because they're so unique. Every goal is very, very unique. FIFA hasn't got that. So although Pro Evo represents the sport better, when you're getting into competitive online playing, really getting into it where games actually matter, like for example in Master League, Pro Evo is so fucking frustrating. It's just ridiculous. And it's the same as last year, because last year FIFA would be my game of choice, my football game of choice online. So I would play seasons mode and stuff like that online with FIFA. But when my mates come over, we play Pro Evo, because it was more of a spectacle. It was more of a anything can happen, everyone would laugh and have a joke. But if you're playing some random guy, I do not want him winning in the 92nd minute with the ball bouncing off the back of my defender and trickling into the bottom left-hand corner because my keeper's unbalanced. It's just so infuriating. But the reason why I gave... because I gave FIFA 13 at 8 and I gave Pro Evo 7. And the reason why I gave it a point extra is because you can't discount all of the stuff, like all of the licensing, all of the presentation. When you're playing the seasons, like the seasons mode, he's going through score lines and the draw for the next Capital One Cup game is being read out. It's incredible that it's all in there. And none of that shit's in Pro Evo. You got one licensed English team in Pro Evolution Soccer. That's not good enough. It's just not. And I know that maybe they can't help with that, and that maybe EA's got that on a lockdown. I don't know the logistics of it. All I know is that it's not there in Pro Evo. Yeah. And that needs to be recognised, I think. I suppose it doesn't really matter. It didn't really matter during the initial Pro Evos because the gameplay was so much better. But now both sets of gameplay are really good. It highlights everything else that FIFA has got. And you can see how much of a better package it is.
Yeah, see, I don't begrudge anyone. It's, a couple of years ago, I remember thinking, if I wrote in a review of Pro Evo, whenever it was, I said, in a couple of years, there's not going to be anything in it. And I think the bottom line is that there's not much in it. And how you play football games, like I said, I don't give it. I turned on Master League mode and I played it because I had to review it. But I was like, I wouldn't be doing this otherwise. I've got no interest in this. Some manager standing by a chalkboard going, "Do this, do that." I was just like, oh, no, thank you.
That's incredible, Master League mode, by the way. It's absolutely incredible.
But it hasn't changed since back in the day. It's proper old hat.
They have. They've sort of made it a little bit more accessible. You can. It reads things out to you that maybe you would have missed or have had to work out your own yourself in previous games, and it takes you through a pretty decent tutorial as well. So it's not too bad. But you're right, the basic concept's the same. But the idea with Master League is that you start off with a bunch of people. It's like, the way I see it's like a post-apocalyptic football world where, like, say, the Premiership's gone, all these other things have gone, and they thought, right, let's just bundle some teams from all over Europe together. And although you've got Old Trafford, you haven't got any of their players. You've got all these, like, misfits. And then you start liking certain players and you keep them and you flog off the ones you don't like for no other reason than, they got the ump when you subbed them or something. And then the good thing about Master League is that it's so personal. It feels like you're creating a pub team that's taking over the world. But yeah, I know what you're saying. If you were to really get into it, you'd realise how frustrating that game can get.
I understand. I mean, that's what I mean. The realisation of playing FIFA was just you cannot fault it for what it is. If you're a football fan and you wait, I've got a mate who waits for FIFA he doesn't literally wait, but all he does is play FIFA. I've lent him games for the last 2 years. He's always like, can I borrow this? Can I borrow that? He never turns them on because all he does is play FIFA.
Yeah.
The fact that it was retailing for 40 quid, I know people bitch about EA all the time, but £40 for what you get is obscene.
Yeah,
it's almost like fucking 7 or 8 games in one.
Yeah,
and they're all impeccably designed. I mean, I've, because I sort of essentially press, I go to things where I sort of meet and interact with the guys that create it, and those guys love what they do, and they never make a mistake because they're lazy or they think they do it out of passion and love, and they break their backs every year to make an amazing game. And I marvel at it. I'm just like, this is incredible, but I can't. It's not for me. I'm not a football fan. As much as I respect what they do, it's not something that excites me. So the difference between seeing that and sort of admiring it from afar and turning on Pro Evo and having literally one of the most exciting games of anything I've ever had in my life. I was a wreck when it finished. When I won 2-1 somehow, I was a fucking wreck.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it, right, I had a game very similar to that. 2-0 down with 10 minutes to go, and I won 3-2. And the goals that I scored were very, like some of them were deflections, some of them pinged off the post and stuff like that. I was on my feet going nuts. I can't imagine what that other dude's doing, the other side of the world.
He's probably plotting to kill you.
Yeah, he might turn up any moment. But and that's what's kind of messed up with it, because if you do take it seriously, you are going to realise how random and frustrating that game can be.
That's what's really funny, and this happened last year because I picked FIFA last year. John has been on the Pro Evo since last year. He said that it was better than FIFA 12 last year. I was like, that's bullshit. It's a very good game.
It was good. It was very good.
It was not as good as FIFA 12. When I did my list of the 10 best games of the year, it was like in the top 5 because I was blown away by that game. But it's so funny when I talk about the things I didn't like back then about FIFA. He'd say this about Pro Evo. He'd say the same things about FIFA, and some of the stuff you said about how you hate the random nature of stuff and how it all seems a little bit fucking haphazard. I feel exactly the same way about FIFA. It's like I said, I can't stand it when I clear a ball and it happens to go to one of the opponent's players and he just runs forward a little bit, has a shot from the middle of fucking nowhere and it goes in. I'm just like, bullshit. That happens in FIFA to me all the time. Maybe it's the way I'm playing it. I'm not
Possibly.
sure. But
Pass it out from the defence. It's the new football. That's what I do.
Oh, no, that's always what I've done. And John, you said, me and John,
I've heard him say that. Have a word.
He gets so... Oh, mate, the amount of it, bash it, since fucking over a decade long I've had to do that. Why don't you clear the ball? I'm just like, I don't want to hoof it. You want to have a bit of fucking variety. As soon as you get the ball into his box, he hoofs it. I'm like, rubbish. It's just shithouse, that.
I've got to play him at some point.
It will piss you off, I'm sure.
I will destroy him.
But no, the bottom line is this year you can't go wrong.
You really can't.
You can't. But if what you want is a game that you're going to play all year, FIFA. If there's something that you're going to play intermittently with friends and occasionally online, Pro Evo, I think it's the
I'd say
game.
so. And as I said, like if you're bored of FIFA, like a lot of people turned off with last year's game, don't buy FIFA this year because it will do nothing to convert you. And Pro Evo is still a really good game, so get that. But I think if you haven't bought a game for a long time, football game for a long time, and you think, I'll get one this year, you've got to get FIFA.
Yeah, you do.
Because there's so much there.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I even went into the Ultimate Team auction house for a bit and started getting sneaky buys on players that no one had seen. I was like, I can totally 100% understand how people get obsessed to the point where they don't go outside for days on end, because it's so well designed, so compelling, lovely. I mean,
just one more quick thing. Are you playing Pro Evo on a 360 or PS3?
360, yeah.
Google the name DJ Damos, Daymos. He sells, or you can, maybe chat to him, and he sends out these USB sticks that you plug into your Xbox, and it completely puts the licensed teams on Pro Evo for you. It's incredible.
Wow, that's what's so funny about Pro Evo. There's almost everything about it is stuck in. Yeah, exactly. So stuck in the past.
Yeah.
But I remember eBay auctions, like for fucking Pro Evo 4 or 5 or something years back, where people were selling the same things for like silly money.
Yeah, memory card.
Yeah.
No, Google him. DJ Damos, his name is, and he does an incredible job every year of converting every team into a licensed team, including painstakingly pixel art in the badge, the sponsors, getting the boots right, getting the players right, getting formations right, even to the point where it's got championship teams in there, it's got all the foreign teams in there. It's incredible. The guy's incredible.
How much does he charge for that?
I don't know. I think it might. I don't know. I wouldn't like to say. I've got no clue. But he's always hooked me up in the past because I bum him. Yeah.
That's. I mean, at the end of the day, that means nothing to me because I don't even know who the players are half the time. Anyway.
That's true, but Blue must wind you up just a little bit.
Not really. I don't. I've started using. I mean, we were pissing. I mean, when John came down, he was with me for a long weekend when he was at Eurogamer. Actually, that's another thing. The FIFA nutcase friend that I said that I had, he came round here on Thursday because I got a copy a day early, and the whole idea was to do that thing that so endears us to women, which is sit in our own filth for about 24 hours and do nothing apart from play FIFA. But after a few matches, he said, "Let's try Pro Evo," and we didn't. That's what we did. That was our evening.
Yeah, Pro Evo is incredible for that. And not only that, it levels the playing field. So this guy that's been playing FIFA is suddenly not so great at the football games anymore. Yeah. So everyone's got a chance against him.
But we did the old switcheroo all night. Have you ever done the old switcheroo?
I heard you talk about it. What changing? I've noticed people do that to me. When you drastically see their playing style change, and all of a sudden they're really kicking your ass. Yeah, it makes me want to smash my TV up. But no, I've never tried that.
Oh, it's the best way to play. I mean, it's annoying that I haven't always got someone here to do it because you can't beat it. You can't beat going 2-0 down, handing over to a mate, and the other player is so flummoxed by the change in playing styles that they don't know how to deal with it. It's the best way to play any football game, I reckon.
If only I had some friends, eh?
True that.
Number 3, Super Hexagon. Which I've heard you sigh at every time.
For the same reason you weren't happy about playing Dark Souls.
I know. It's exactly the same. I was told time after time, play this game, stop what you're doing, play this game. So in the end, my friend James was down for the weekend for Eurogame, and he just went, "You're playing this now," and I was like, "This is terrible. This is rubbish. I don't understand. Oh my god, this is the best thing I've ever played ever." It just clicks. It's not the best thing I've ever played ever, but it's a bloody nice game. It's one of these games, I suppose, a bit like Rock Band Blitz, where you get in a zone, and all of a sudden you don't realise how you're doing what you're doing, but you're doing it anyway. It's you've spoken about it on the show. Another recommendation from me. It's really good. The only problem I've got with it at the moment is that I've got one of those nice new fancy iPhone 5 things, and they haven't updated it. So you play it in landscape mode, and it's each side of the screen does a different thing. If you press the right side of the screen, it spins one way. If you press the left, it spins the other way. But because there's borders either end, sometimes I hit the border instead of the actual playing surface, and I lose because it hasn't been updated to iPhone 5 yet. So get that sorted because it's annoying.
That's as I've said before. Yeah, it's one of those games that I had so many people that I know that I follow on Twitter that are just in my head constantly talking about it like it was the second coming. And whenever that happens, I'm just like, get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah.
I think it's come to a point now where I'm gonna try it in the next week or two. So
you'll hate it. You'll hate it for about for your first 6 or 7 games. You'll think, what is this all about? The controls feel crap. It feels as though it moves too quickly when you press, like when you see your little triangle spinning around. You think it's spinning too quickly, and if they'd have slowed it down, it'd have been a better game. Yeah. And then once you get used to that speed, you're like, actually, no, it's perfect. Yeah.
Have you completed any of the? Because there's 3 difficulties, I think.
No. I've got to 36 seconds on the first level. That's as far as I've got so far.
Oh, okay, no, that's on the cards. It's on my phone, waiting to be picked up. So I'll go back to that any time now.
Do it.
Right, okay. My number 3 is Resident Evil 6.
Oh, I played this briefly at the expo.
How was it?
I hated it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, is it bad?
I'm never the best person to judge. As if you've listened to this show before, you know that I have a real softness for bad action games. But I do think the people that have really gone to town on slating this have gone overboard, and I'm not buying it. I've checked some of the sites who really, really gave it a kicking. I've checked what they gave Resident Evil Raccoon City, and they gave it a higher mark. And I'm just like, that is absolute bullshit. Did you ever play that game?
No, but I heard that was the sort of low point of the series.
It's not even a joke. I mean, that game, I don't even understand. It's like it was made by aliens, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll put guys with guns, and we'll put collectible. All the elements were there, but they were put in such a fucked up way. You were just like, it was anti-enjoyable. It was honestly, for anyone to say that that's a better game than Resident Evil 6 is on fucking crack. I mean, I remember at the time I was like, I could so imagine Capcom head honchos seeing all the reviews for Raccoon City, and they've been like, what the hell's going on? Who developed this? And they're like, whatever the fuck the development team are. And they're like, well, go around and confront them. And they go around to the office, and like it's empty, and the light fittings have been pulled out, and it was a scam because they've done a runner. Because I couldn't believe that seasoned professional people who make games for a living had made that game. Resident Evil 6 does some stupendously brain-dead things wrong. Things that I can't believe anyone could, mistakes that you don't I don't know how people make those mistakes in this day and age. I mean, what part of the game did you play? Was it just one campaign?
Yeah, it was in some house. I didn't really know whereabouts it was or what was going on really, but I think why people might have been a little bit upset was because I think they thought it was something different. I thought if like looking at all the promo stuff, it looked like they were going to take the series in a new direction again. And to me, it just felt like a smarter Resident Evil 5 in a new setting.
Why did you hate it then?
Because I hate Resident Evil 5. I loved Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 5, I thought was a real failed attempt at forcing co-op play.
Yeah.
I didn't like the QTEs. I didn't like the pacing. I didn't like the fact that you spent the majority of your time in that game searching for ammo that was usually being used by your co-op partner, which was frustrating as hell. But yeah, it didn't really click, and I thought this was going to go right. Okay, let's go all balls out action this time, and they haven't. All the old stuff's there, and
yeah, I felt the same as you about Resident Evil 5. I thought that was a right fucking travesty, and I hate it. Friends of mine who are massive fans of Resident Evil still convince me that they love it as much as any other, and I'm just like, that's nonsense. I don't know. I quite like Resident Evil 6. I mean, if I wrote for a magazine or a website, I'd give it a 7 out of 10, because at the root of all of its problems, all of the things that are wrong with it come down to the fact that it's too ambitious. It's one of the most ambitious games I've ever played. I mean, at the end of the day, they've delivered 4 campaigns, separate campaigns that last between, depending on how good you are at them, between 5 and 10 hours each. If they'd have nailed it, it would have been the game of the year. The problem is that they fucking haven't. And there's things that they do. For example, I did this section the other day where I was in a cemetery, and these dogs kept appearing and they were attacking us. And the dogs are bullet sponges, so they take loads of bullets to kill, but they also jump around. They hop left and right, so they're really hard to pin down and shoot. You've got hardly any ammunition, and you can't melee attack them. So I was like, this is a sequence from an action game in a survival horror kind of thing, because they've stripped you of all your ammo and there's nothing you can do. You can't get out of this. I mean, honestly, there's moments like that where you're just mystified and you're just like, how could you fuck? It's like it doesn't know what it wants to be. There's another bit. There's a boss fight where this boss keeps jumping from all these windows of an aeroplane. It's very good looking. It's all like pyrotechnics, massive action scene in an action game, but you've got no ammo again. And I'm like, am I supposed to waste my ammo on him? If I don't shoot him, what happens? Do I wait until a cutscene triggers? I still, to this day, I don't know what I should have done in that situation. Yeah. But there are moments like that where you just sense that there's different people working against each other. I've heard that it's the biggest team ever on a Capcom game, and they were put under a really, really strict deadline. So you end up thinking that people fighting against each other, and they've ended up but despite all of the shit that's wrong with it, it's fun. It really is. It's just, for the most part, I'm reluctant to just completely bin off the stuff that they do right, because there is some really cool stuff in it, and I don't want to write that off just because there are moments when I've thrown my pad on the ground and I've got a new neighbour who I've barely seen, but I got fucking bang on the wall. Shut up, because I threw my pad down and I went, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. I screamed bullshit 3 times because I was just so... It was one of those moments. And that's why the bad reviews kind of don't sit well with me, because I think it's lazy if stuff like that happens and you give it a fucking 2 out of 10, because that's not... Don't overlook everything. That was a bad moment. There's other shit to take into account. I've got to play it tonight, and I've got to play it tomorrow, and then I'm going to review it. I don't know where I'm going to go, but at the moment, having played, I reckon, at least half of the entire thing, I quite like it.
I think, from what I've read anyway, it seems like it hasn't learnt from the mistakes that it made in 5.
Yeah,
and I think it's more probably frustration from reviewers than anything else. It's like, well,
that's true. Yeah.
You had a chance. Resident Evil 4 was incredible. 5 was poor. You had a chance to sort of win us back round again with 6, and
yeah. 5. The funny thing is that the campaigns are actually. When I previewed it a little while ago, I said that I didn't think they were going to stay as different as they are, but they are. They're actually quite different. And funnily enough, the one that I'm enjoying the most is the one that most resembles Resident Evil 5, which is more action-orientated. There's loads of loot. But I'm just really, really liking it. It's the Chris Redfield one. But it's difficult. I've had so many good moments in it. I mean, a lot of them are nicked from other things. There was a great bit where... do you know that bit in 28 Days Later where the car breaks down in that tunnel? Yeah. And they're fixing the car, and you just see those silhouettes, those shadows of those fucking zombies sprinting. They nick that, but it's really effectively done. And then I saw the most surreal thing I've ever seen in a video game. Completely, properly blew my mind. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen anything as flat out weird as this in a game. And I don't think it was me. I think, I like to think it wasn't just me. But basically, you're in China fighting these gangsters, and they're these muscly guys who wear these kind of China faces with smiley faces on them. And at one point, randomly, you run into a room, and with no full warning, they're all on the ceiling with these ripped torsos, machine guns, white masks, but the bottom half of them are spiders, and they're all just sort of moving really, really weirdly and trying to shoot you from round corners and stuff. And I was just like, that's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. But all I'll say is that at this point, I think the people who've really slated it they've gone overboard for the wrong reasons. How much did you play when you played it?
Not too much. That's why I didn't mention it today. I hadn't really played that much of it, if I'm totally honest.
I take it you're not going to pick it up?
No, I kind of thought that I would. And then I saw the reviews and played it and just thought, nah, I probably won't.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's a difficult one. I like it and I'm forgiving it a lot, but at the same time, there are idiotic mistakes that it's made. But I will say that if you read a website and they gave a higher grade to fucking Raccoon City, go elsewhere, for God's sake. But I quite like it at this point. I'll speak about it next week.
Cool. Well, my number 2 was Dead or Alive, so we've done that. We can move on.
Okay, Borderlands 2 is my number 2. You're not playing Borderlands, are you?
No, it's funny. I thought I should be getting into this, and then I played it at Eurogamer because no one was playing it, obviously, because it's been out.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I definitely should be getting into this. It's one of those games it's just passed me by. And I suppose it's part of that hipster thing as well, where everyone's going, "You got to play it, you got to play it, you love it." And I'm like, no way. Yeah, maybe I should play it.
But have you got friends to play it with?
No, we've established I've got no friends. No, you? You're a friend, aren't you? We're best friends now, aren't we?
I'd play it with you, yeah. I mean,
yeah, so I think it's like that hipster thing. Everyone's going, "Oh, you got to play Borderlands. You got to play Borderlands." I was like, "Fuck you!" And I'm always wrong as well with that. Like everyone's saying, you've got to play Mass Effect, and I was going, "Yeah, all right." And then I played it, and it's one of the best games I've ever played in my life.
The first one?
No, the first one was terrible. There's the second one.
Okay, good. Yeah, same here.
People will hate me for that, but yeah, the first one was terrible.
Yeah, Borderlands 2. It's basically a masterpiece. They've pulled off an incredible. It's comparable to FIFA 13 in the amount of content and the amount of work that's gone into it. And a couple of my friends are just. I mean, as I've said last week, they took the entire week off work to play it together. And I got a text from one of them today saying, "I can't wait to go through it again. We've just finished it." And they start it again with different characters. They've got different games going on with different friends. It's something that, for some reason, my friends aren't the kind of people that play games like this. We play Battlefield together, occasionally football games and stuff. But they're obsessed. And I can understand why. It's a masterpiece. I mean, John's playing it on his own and he says he's having just as much fun as we are. But, I mean, you have to get it.
You're definitely not. He's definitely not having the same amount of fun.
No, I said that to him. I'm just like, you don't know what it's like when there's four of you doing shit together. It's a co-op game predominantly, but you need to get it, man. You no interest at all?
I haven't. Like, after I played it at Eurogame, I was like, actually, this is pretty cool. But I suppose it's always come about when I'm in the middle of, like, all my time at the moment is devoted to FIFA and Dead or Alive. So I need to boot something off so I can feel, some space.
Yeah, right, okay.
Maybe I'll pick it up.
The annoying problem I've got is that all of my friends are playing it and we've made this pact that we're only going to play together. They've all got children, families, jobs. I mean, I've got a job, but I haven't got the other two. But trying to hook up is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
It's normally one day a week, someone will be late. We can't do any main missions until he turns up, and it just turns into a clusterfuck. But when it works, when you're playing online, it's great. I do think...
Sounds like you're in a band. And you're gonna break up soon.
Yeah, no, we won't ever break up because we can't do it until we've completed it.
Hey guys, I'm playing. Can my girlfriend play as well?
Yeah.
No.
Funny enough, one of my mates has just brought his girlfriend into the old squad.
So God!
It's worked out fine.
It's Yoko.
She's no, she's actually really good.
You'll think that for a couple of weeks.
No, she's fine. Honestly, she's fine. I was contemplating inviting my missus to pick it up, but by the time I don't have the time, they're going to play it 4 times. So by the time if she picked it up, we'd be done. So
if I ever get my missus to play Angry Birds,
but she doesn't game at all.
Oh no!
Really?
Oh no!
Wow.
She can't stand it.
Has she actually tried? Have you ever actually sat her down and said, "Have a whack at this"?
No, because she just wouldn't do it.
Really?
Oh no, tell her right. She plays SingStar a lot. That's good.
Okay.
I think she can hear this. I'll talk about you not playing video games. Is that all right? Is there a challenge? What does that mean?
Well, is that a challenge then?
Why, do you want to play some video games? No, not at the moment. See, and she played New Super Mario Bros. On the Wii and nearly smashed up every Wiimote that we've had. So now she doesn't. She just plays Pio Blocks on the iOS. That's it.
Oh, well, that's something, I guess.
It's something, yeah. But no.
Okay, right. Well, what was your number? I suppose your number one,
number
right?
one's FIFA 13.
Oh, okay.
We've covered that.
Yeah. Okay, my number one's Rock Band Blitz. It's just what I do. It's just what I do.
I've noticed that on my copy.
Have you played? You haven't played it much, have you?
No, I've played it a lot, but you haven't seen me play it because I'm so low down on the scoreboards. I'm not particularly taken with it, if I'm totally honest.
Did you play Frequency and Amplitude? And all
I did, yeah, I absolutely love them. I don't think this reflects that. I think Frequency and Amplitude, a lot of that skill, I don't know, it felt a little bit more natural. I can't get into the natural way of playing this game at the moment with just the two buttons. Sometimes I find myself just mashing the shoulder buttons and it kind of working. Yeah. Whereas like Frequency and Amplitude, because there was 3 inputs, it sort of made it a little bit more technical, and it clicked with me a little bit better. But I'm still very early on. Like,
how much have you played it, do you think?
I'd say probably about an hour and a half, so not that much.
Yeah, see, the thing is, John and I had the same reaction, and my girlfriend did as well. At first, I felt the same as you. I was like, I've been looking forward to this for weeks and weeks. I've spent 1,200 points. Why isn't this blowing my mind? And it was like that for a few hours, and then after that, it just clicks to the point where now I can't turn my Xbox on. Earlier today, I meant to have a quick blast on Resident Evil, get some more of that done. And every time I turn my Xbox on, I have to just jump in and have a blast on it. And I've spent 4,000 Microsoft points on fucking songs in the last 24 hours. I honestly, it's ridiculous.
Hold on, I'm gonna have to work out how much that is. 4,000.
Well, I mean, the whole 4,200. I'm one of those idiots that can't top up 800 points, 1,200 points. I have to buy the Big Daddy every time, the scratch cards. Put it on there, and it's annoying because I know I'm not getting my money's worth. Whenever I've bought music in the Rock Band store in the past, I've always had this weird thing in my head thinking that one day we're all just going to start playing Rock Band again, and it's going to be like it was back in the day when everyone would have Rock Band parties. And, you know, you buy a song then, you get your money's worth, you play it over the course of several weekends, that's fine. But what I do now is I buy a song, I play it, I gold star it, almost always I'm in the top 10 worldwide leaderboard, and then I never touch it again. And I'm like, what? That was great, money down the toilet, but I can't stop myself because I have to prolong it. Prolong it.
That's something we've spoken about on Joypod quite a bit, about how limitations in games isn't always bad. And one of the games that represents what we mean is 1,000 Heroes. Have you played that?
1,000 Heroes? What, that rings a bell.
Yeah, it's an iOS game where it's a platformer, and every day it's a new level. And basically everyone in the world is playing the same level. The idea is to get from point A to point B as quickly as you can. But because everyone's just playing one level, you focus on that one level and that's it. Yeah. Now, if you've got Rock Band Blitz, if there was like 3 songs in it for the first like 2 weeks or whatever, everyone would try and master those songs, and the competition would be ridiculous. Yeah. But if you've got 4,200 Microsoft points worth of DLC on it, you're playing it once or twice and then moving on. Yeah. And so the competition's so spread out that it doesn't feel as if everyone's constantly pushing the boundaries for that.
I get you, yeah.
But yeah, I've just worked that out. That's £35.98 you've spent on DLC.
And do you know what? It's music I actually don't like. I've got that because I've bought all the music that I do like.
You've got every single Killers track.
No, I don't know. I didn't stoop that low. But honest to God, I'm buying stuff for the sake of buying it, and I know I'm not getting my money's worth. And that weird thing has finally subsided, because I'm one of the only people I know who's still got all of the Rock Band instruments.
No, you can add me to that list now.
Have you really?
Yeah, they've scattered about, but I have got them. Yeah.
Because those days were like, I'd have parties every weekend, Friday, Saturday. And friends would come, friends of friends would come. It was just like, it was amazing. There was just this fucking national obsession, or worldwide obsession, maybe. And then it just kind of stopped happening. And but as I said, when you buy a song, then you're getting your 160 points worth. Whereas now, like I said, I play it. And
did you ever play DJ Hero?
I'm massively obsessed with that as well for a period. Yeah, £19
in Tesco's, brand new at the moment.
With a turntable?
With a turntable. £19 for DJ Hero 2.
Oh, I'm tempted. DJ Hero 2 was like a big step up from the first one.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
But I had to sell
spent £90 on that for me.
Oh, God. Was that how much it was back when it came out?
Yep.
Jesus. Okay, yeah, it's an obsession, and I hope it subsides soon. Otherwise, I'm going to bankrupt myself. But okay, yeah, that's us done. 40 minutes,
wasn't it?
40 minutes, of course it was. Yeah, it's genuine. Thank you very much for listening. The usual dog shit, the findthatplaylist.com, Facebook, Twitter. Do you want to plug where do you get Joypod from, aside from iTunes?
Spong.com. Go on to spong.com, and that's we're on there somewhere.
I saw you've done a new episode based around the Eurogamer Expo, is that right?
Yeah, we every year we go and do we record there, but this was a really bad year because our producer couldn't make it, so we had to try and make do with the equipment we had, so it sounds terrible, and we got told off during both episodes by staff. The first one because they were closing the VIP area where we were recording, and the second one because we were being too loud.
Jesus, what, in an expo?
It was the VIP lounge, to be fair.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, we were being too loud. So.
Okay, well, check that out. Joypod on iTunes, /spong.com. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. Hopefully see you next week.
Goodbye.
Hey, Brad, what do you think you're doing? I want some of that action, too.
Hey, you can't just barge in here. Who do you think you are? Perfect. Time for a little tag team.